Hey, what's up, everybody? HTG Brian back with some more LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. This is Niima Outpost Free Roam. We're going to knock off the last planetary area on Jakku and take out 27 Kyber bricks, 4 character tokens, a ship token, and a lonely data card as well. So we're definitely getting into that home stretch with the remaining Kyber bricks kind of getting rather small. Same with the characters, ships, and data cards as well. Now, if you remember, we had a quick detour to revert back to Pasana space because I had sort of overlooked that. And watch out for that asteroid down below. Anybody else a little bit cautious of that? But look at this. We've got 5 of 5 and 2 of 2, meaning we can move on and get back on track. So we're going to go ahead and pull up our map. Look at that. Jakku is right next door, and Niima Outpost is Niima in some help from us. No? Boo? I already lose you? All right, I'll try to minimize the Brianisms as we continue. All right, there's lots of zigging and zagging on this one. This is a fairly long video, so keep in mind we do have quick links down below in the video description. But as soon as we touch ground, we're actually going to turn right around, and there happens to be a Kyber brick right here on the ground. Oh, man, you didn't realize you're getting into some Dr. Seuss action this morning, too. Well, I guess depends on the time of day. It's morning for me. It could be night, or I don't know. Maybe it's a weekend for you. Who knows? Whatever the case is, welcome to Niima Outpost. Officially got our collecting off and running. And speaking of off and running, we're actually going to head, I feel like it's sort of northeast as I'm running, but you look at the compass, it's far from that. It's like just straight east. Nonetheless, our goal is actually this pile of rubble in the corner. And if you look at the map, there's a door and a rumor, but there's not seemingly a character or ship icon there. And it looks like it's a ship icon with the raving racer standing there. Basically, what has happened here is we've got some piles of rubbish we need to smash down and rebuild so we can put together this little, I guess it's like some sort of a sand speeder. I can't remember the name of this. Y'all will let me know in the comments, I'm sure. But go ahead and smash and build, and once it takes flight again, our little buddy here is like, hey, how about you take a little race? And I'm all for it. You know me, I love a race, a good race. Ooh, it's a race. I hope I win. For taking out this in the time allotted, we actually unlock the First Order TIE Fighter. Now, this is the Speeder Spruce Up race, and again, you cannot find this until you smash and rebuild this little sand speeder here. And the goal is 80 seconds, which seems like a lot, but I tell you what, it's a pretty long race, and there's a couple of hang-ups. First one being right here. There's a little bit of some funny anglage as you run around a couple of these items on the ground, and my best advice is to try to not smash into them. Try to go around them. Even though I do take out some of the smaller items to get some studs, ultimately you'll want to try to stay clear of everything, including those tents and awnings and everything. So I made a wrong turn. I should have made a right at Albuquerque instead of left. And all right, so we've made it a big loop around Unkar Plutt's palace there, and basically what we want to do, I guess it's not really a palace, it's more of like a I don't know, swap meet or something, but what I'm recommending is if you notice there's no like boost meter down in the bottom left hand corner where you'd have like on a ship like a X-Wing or something. Here's another one of those funny angles right here too. Watch out, go hard left and then kind of cut around on the right. Otherwise, you'll probably get stuck on that bad boy. And there's another one coming up here as we get into this giant downed craft. But essentially what I was saying, though, is double tap the X button, or boost button for us. It is X. Double tap, hold, double tap, hold, double tap, hold, double tap, hold, all the way through, and kind of keep that pattern, as you will find that the boost actually is efficient. Now, I got it at 69.5 doing that, so I had a little bit of extra time, and I also made that left at Albuquerque back there, which smashed me into a tent and really slowed me down. So a little bit of extra time there, but I definitely recommend double tap, hold, double tap, hold. All right, right next door, there is a guy here. He is a traveler. I want to make note of the fuse on the ground there and the 3 sockets right next to it. We're going to come back to that in a little bit as we progress. We'll find another one of those down fuses, and we'll bring it back and make it happen. Meanwhile, we're actually going to run just a couple of steps off to the side of that, and we're going to find a golden box that can be melted down with your favorite bounty hunter. And Golden Dune is golden done. All right, we're going to run all the way back around over to where we came through that giant, I don't know what it is. It looks like some sort of, like a thruster or something from one of the giant, like, Star Destroyers, maybe? But inside this, up top, we've got a really pesky brick. Now, I say pesky because this can be a pain in the tuchus, as it took me quite a few tries of jumping, and, honestly, in my PS4 go, you guys would have been laughing really hard at me. I failed this miserably, but I got really lucky on my PS5 capture, so the meat and potatoes that you get to watch, it's all good to go. Essentially, you want to jump up on that one side, shoot the target. If you find that the wobbling platform is going to be helpful, as you can see here, it actually can help, but it can be very problematic too. With the jetpack on, you could probably manage to make those jumps without shooting them and creating that extra turbulence. And I also recommend pushing both of these boxes down below. Now, the reason for that is that they actually smash into some buildable bricks, and they turn into some giant trampolines to save yourself part of the run back up. Luckily for us, though, we did the old jetpack jump and made it out there, and I'm going to show you real quick. If you build up these blocks, they give you a nice baboinger, and it makes it easy to get back up there. But also, it gives you a ton of studs. So we're going to go ahead and collect those, because you know me, got to get them all, got to get them all. All right, next up, we've gone through that giant thruster, fuselage, whatever that is, and now we've found ourselves climbing the backside of a hill here. And on top, we've got ourselves some silver bricks. Silver bricks. I know Halloween just passed in real time. I know I just totally stamped this video with holiday theme, but essentially it's almost to like my favorite time of year. You know, that Thanksgiving and holiday season is always amazing. Go ahead and destroy that silver brick, though. Collect that Kyber and be on your way down below. Next up, we're going to need a scavenger with a little help of a breaker blaster. That's going to allow us to go ahead and knock the block off of this door here, which gains us access inside. And we're going to drop down, and we're going to find that there is a red laser beam wall and a bunch of debris on the ground. So we'll go ahead and, you know my rule, when in doubt, smash about. So we'll go ahead and do that. And look at that. It actually reveals a push switch there. We can stand on that, and it allows our second character to go ahead and make his or her way in. And once we get into that third room, it's weird. The second room just sort of opens up the third one. I'm not exactly sure what happens there, but must be like a motion sensor or something. Inside, we flip the switch, which sort of should relieve our other character, our primary character, of having to stand on that button. And look at that. Inside in the back corner, we find our Energize Kyber brick. All right, a couple of handhelds to get on out of here. And let's see here. What is next? What is next? We actually have a Kyber brick hiding in a weird spot. It's another one of those, like, thruster, I don't know, carcasses, if you will. It's like the back part of a ship. The Tuta, from the rooted to the Tuta. All right, what we're going to do here is collect this brick by using a protocol droid and the Force. We can simply lift up our droid and put him right in where we need to be, and look at that, pretty easy peasy. All right, next up, we're going to basically do that again right next door. There is a little bit of luck that happens here in my behalf, but it'll probably happen to you, because it happened to me on the PS4 and the PS5. All right, so again, we're going to have a character with the Force and a protocol droid, or even astromech would work too. Any kind of a droid should get her done. Go ahead and lift him up and put him up on top. Now, in my PS4 go, my secondary character actually just randomly appeared up here, so I thought maybe that'd happen again. It didn't happen right away, but it does happen after a few seconds of not paying attention. So I move one of these boxes thinking, okay, I could just jetpack up to the top after that. That doesn't work as perfect as I would have liked, so I'm going to toggle back to a protocol droid now that my secondary character is up here, and I'm going to go ahead and lift him up top. And just like before, we'll go ahead and toggle over to that droid, drop it like it's hot, and Wreckage reward should be yours. All right, right across the way here, we've got, well, come on, across the way, turn around. We're going to go across the way. No, I think we're going to go over on the wall side there. We got a rumor. Oh, that's right, we are going to go across the way. All right, so this guy here tells us that there are some capacitors, or more commonly referred to as a fuse, eh? That's right, it's a fuse. We need that breaker blaster again, so pull out your favorite scavenger and go ahead and blow the doors off of this AT-AT. That's right. And once we get that done there's actually a fuse inside, but more importantly, there's a Kyber brick right around the corner to the left. We're going to swoop that up, and then we're going to leave that fuse there for a hot second. So don't forget where that is. And luckily for us, on our map, it should show as a purple icon labeled pluggable. So that's there for the keepins now. We're going to actually make our way over to this back wall over here. You might have noticed a little glowing bit on the top of it, which happens to be a Kyber brick. We're going to need somebody with a blaster and a grapple to get up there, though. So we'll go ahead and remove some of the rocks. It's going to reveal some grapple points. And from there, we can go ahead and use our favorite grappler to get up there and jump from handheld to handheld to handheld all the way up there. This last one's kind of a funny angle, weird camera biz, but we get it anyways. Cliffhanger, done did. We'll go ahead and take that leap of faith off the ledge, and we're going to make a circle back around here over in the corner, because guess what? There is a brick down below, a crashed X-Wing. It's kind of hidden. You got to get up close and personal to it. Once you get up there, it should show the lower area. It's kind of like a little maze. It's like a labyrinth. Look out for David Bowie. Anyways, we get back here to the back corner. We find ourselves a saber wall. So we're going to go ahead and pull out anybody that can use a lightsaber and go ahead and carve out a small piece. Of course, you could take your time and carve out the whole door, or you could just make a small little incision like we did. And inside, we get that brick called Start Destroyed. So hopefully you marked your GPS to get out of here, because it is a little confusing. But essentially, we just make our way back to the ladder, and up we go. Now, right up above this, up to our right, there is another giant Lego structure. And up in sort of behind it, or inside it actually, is going to be the data card for Jakku Niima Outpost. And I do believe it is our 15th data card, meaning that there's only 4 more. So that's pretty cool. Look at that. Yeah, you thought I was wrong for a second, but it takes a second for that ticker to tick it off. But yeah, so I think we only have 4 areas left, and it means that each of the 4 are actually going to have a data card. So that's kind of fun, but also just means 1 more collectible for each area. Although, you know, I don't know how many we got left. I think we got about 200 Kyber bricks and 4 data cards, probably about 20 characters, and probably about 7 or 8 ships. All right, up here in this giant crashed, I don't know what we're going to call this, but it's definitely some debris. We're going to find a series of targets and a caged Kyber brick. Now, just like all the previous ones, we're going to need to go ahead and blast it. Did you guys catch that? I needed somebody with a blaster, and I picked like the one person in the whole game that doesn't wield a blaster. Like that's, or some sort of shooter or something, right? Like that was pretty comical. I didn't really mean to do that, honestly. All right, we'll go ahead and target all 4 of those bullseyes, which 2 are on the high right side. 1 is on the left side high, and the other one's on the left low side. So hopefully you got all 4 of those. Might need to rewind and get a quick look at it again, but Salvage Sharpshooter should be yours. All right, hey, remember that fuse that I told you to not forget about? We're going to go ahead and swoop that up now. We're basically done in this area for now. Later, a character quest actually finishes out here, and it even leaves us a Kyber brick afterwards. It's not technically a double whammy. That's not how it's labeled anyways, because you don't get them both right away. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. Basically, what we want to do is we want to mark that pluggable that we found originally by the door and where we got that first ship token. And we're going to go ahead and run this back. Now, a quick tip for you. If you pick up the fuse, try to pull up your map, you're going to drop the fuse. So if you're needing to target where your destination is, do that before you pick up the fuse. Because if you do it halfway, you're going to drop it, and the fuse may respawn where it's supposed to be, which is handy if you ever lose it and you don't know where it is, but it's also a real pain if you're trying to do the mission. So we've gone ahead and busted a move all the way across the sand. We've placed the first fuse in its place. The second one is right in front of the crashed stuff here. We'll grab that. And last but not least, the final one is actually down in the town, and it should show up for you because we've been in there a few times. Now, once or twice for the story-based bits, and also we did that race earlier. So if you have been following along and you did that race with the ship token where we got that first order TIE fighter in the very beginning, you probably have this visual available for you too. If not, just target something in the middle of the city, and then as you get close, it should pop up on your compass in the lower left corner. So Definitely a couple different ways to get this figured out and found, but it should be really easy. It's basically just right in the center of town. Look at that. In fact, there is a rumor giver that tips us off that says something like the scavenger over there that's selling stuff has some of those capacitors. Again, we call them fuses. And that's really a Apex Legends reference, if you didn't know that. There is a character named Fuse, and I do believe he's Australian or New Zealand, and he definitely packs a wallop of accent, and he's pretty good. He's pretty funny. I love him. He's one of my favorite characters for dialogue. I can't stand him as far as playing him. I'm terrible with him. It's not that he's bad. I'm bad with him. All right, we've officially made it all the way back to the wreckage. We're going to plop this fuse in its final socket. Look at that. It pumps it up. Go ahead and make your way inside the building. Look at me. I'm a little hesitant, like, do I go in or what do I do? Inside, though, we've got some boxes. We'll go ahead and take care of those real quick. Cha. And there's a switch there, so we'll go ahead and flip that now. Inside, I don't know what that's supposed to be. It almost looks like some sort of I mean, it's a safe of sorts, but it kind of had that brown look like a carbonite freeze would have, right? I'm sure that's not what it was, but it just, minus the glass window to see inside, which could have been an updated version, you know what I mean? Like, instead of having the Han Solo glass. Okay, moving on. Next up, we're going to run over just to the side of where we spawned in, and you probably are going to see a Kyber brick flying around in the sky, but there's also one on the ground that we can go ahead and target and mark. Now, this one here has a little protective bubble here, and just like all the rest of those scattered throughout the galaxy, it means we've got some pressure-sensitive switches. That's right. So these are all hidden under some rocks. There's 3 on one side and 1 on the opposite. So I recommend starting on the side with the singlet and then running around, and hopefully your aim is good. And I do recommend like stopping for a hot second on each one because your foot may miss the actual button. So like 1, 2, 3, stop, 1, 2, 3, stop, 1, 2, 3, stop, and you should be good. Sandy sprint, done did. All right, next up we've got the Steelpecker Rodeo. Moving along, we'll go ahead and target this flying birdie that has the Kyber brick. Now, on my PS4 Go, this took for so long. You guys have no idea. Like, I don't know if, like, my aim was bad, if he was, like, I don't know. He might have put on, like, a red brick invincibility cheat. That's right, I said red brick. I know, we don't have red bricks in this game. They're Kyber and data cards. But, ultimately, you get what I'm saying, though. I feel like he was cheating. Now, as he sort of progresses or tries to run away from you, he does call in some friends. And basically, they're sort of just a decoy or distraction. You really want to focus on the birdie itself here. At some point, I do feel like I get him locked in. Oh, no, that's later. That's a different one. We have another birdie quest where we got to take out a bunch of birds. But this guy, he flies over. I do believe this is scripted, now that I'm remembering. I don't think you can hit him a fair amount of the time of travel. But there are certain points where he does become vulnerable. And then eventually he makes it all the way over to this area where we were before. And I think he swoops back around and becomes vulnerable. And then he falls and drops it like it's hot. Sort of. We got to go up and give him one quick little incentive here. That's right. Kapow! That's right. I should have added the old Batman kapow text there, because that seemed like a pretty intense blow there. All right, Steelpecker Rodeo done did, and now we got to run back in. Now, you might have noticed, too, it actually unlocked a mission on the Uskru district area over on Coruscant. So, yeah, we've definitely had sort of a hierarchy of, like, having to do certain areas before other ones get done. And that was one of them right there. It actually opened up something that wouldn't have been available to us had we have tried to finish Coruscant after doing the Federal District. So that's kind of fun to see that should be unlocked and ready to go. However, we do run into a Catch-22 coming up soon, and more on that in a second. Now, you guys remember this. We were in here with Ray as part of the story. And we had to trudge our way around, find a bunch of stuff in here. And ultimately, we saw the Kyber brick up top, but we had to leave it for later use. Well, it's later, so we're going to go ahead and use it. This is another one of those ones that I struggled miserably on my sort of scouting run on my PS4 Go. So if you guys don't know, I know I say this all the time, but basically I go ahead and play through this whole area on my PS4 save so that I know where all the puzzle solutions are, what they are, how to do them, and then I look like I actually know what I'm doing when it's time to record. Hopefully that method is tried and true, and it seems that way. As I was going through this on the PS4 Go, I was not patient. I was super in a hurry, and as a result, I failed a lot. So I'm going to stress patience on this one and sort of watch for the patterns of these platforms that pop in and out, because it's real easy to think, oh, I'm safe. I got a jetpack. I can do whatever I want. And then you jump, and then you plummet to your doom, and then you got to start this all over again. Unfortunately, I didn't find any trampolines to help us get back up top at the halfway point or whatever like we did in that earlier task. But this one, like I said, patience is going to be the winner here. So we finally made it all the way up to the top. We've got one more section of platforms that sort of pop in and out. Luckily for us, though, it's got a nice pattern. It's got a sort of a couple of bad ones that move, and then it's got a solid one that's broken that doesn't go anywhere. This is where I struggled the most. That last jump right there. You got to time that jump with the jetpack so you can get that little extra boost up and over that ledge. I fell there probably 3 or 4 times. So if you fall, just know that you're not alone. It is a pretty tough task, and I didn't have to edit or nothing. I just got lucky, or maybe patience was really, truly the key. All right, so we're officially done in that area. Basically, all of the sand upper area has been completed, well, except for this guy right here. We got one more brick up and around the corner here, and then we'll make it into town, which the majority of our final pickings is down there. But like I already said, we do have one character quest that takes us all the way back out into the sand area, where we will find not only a character token at the end, but it actually leaves us a little bit of treasure, a silver box that we can break into a Kyber brick. But make sure you swoop up that Engine Explorer. Is that what it was called? Yeah, I think so. So those are, I mean, I've been trying to call them like, you know, some sort of, like not blaster, but pretty sure thruster, I guess, was the word I was looking for. Speaking of looking for, I got all the way up here and I thought, wait a minute, there's another Kyber brick up here. But it turns out there isn't one. And go ahead and make your way up and over the old sand dunes. And, of course, we are going to need a scavenger with a glider for our next brick. You guys have probably seen this a handful of times, maybe already grabbed it. It's pretty easy or tempting, right? Like, you want to, like, I wanted to grab it so bad going into town those couple times in the story and stuff. But nope, I saved it for later. And here we are. We'll go ahead and swoop a loop. That's right. Gliding into the sunset. We're actually going to go off to the right side of town as we come in, and we're going to take a quick moment here to talk to Buddy. And look at that. He opened up portion control. Now, it's still sort of display glitch in the last Coruscant area that we opened up. But really what it is it's giving us a tip for this mission here called portion control. Now, there's some baddies that need a ratty to inside, and it seemed like these guys would want to jump us too, but they don't. So take out the peoples inside and go ahead and make your way in. Once you get in there, you're going to actually want a character with the Force, because you can use them mind tricks to go ahead and get this buddy inside to flip the switch and allow us access all the way in. Once that happens, all chaos breaks loose, and we got to take out all these bad guys. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. All right, now we got some gold boxes in the middle. They need some melting. You know, I love me some gold. All right, we'll melt it down. And what is this? Snort, snort. Big Buddy comes in here and gets his chomp on. Eats up all the grubbage. Luckily for us, it does reward us with the portion control Kyber brick, but it also unlocks another mission. What? All right, pretty sweet stuff. Look at that. And look at Jakku, Niima Outpost. New mission unlocked. That's right. So right as we leave the place, look at that. Unkar Plutt is out here. We don't remember seeing him on our way in. So it's nice of him to come pay us a visit. We'll go ahead and step right up, and we find out that he has a mission for us. He wants us to get his portions back. Turns out that big, giant Happabore, which is what it's called, ate all his portions. So now we got to go find his Happabore and hopefully find his portions. So the journey begins. Basically, it's another one of those sort of fetch quests. We got to go find a bunch of information, which then leads to I guess, a moment of interest, and then some portions will be found. Now, I did this in a funky order. Here in a second, there is going to be a conflicting mission that's going to give us some problems. I did this intentionally, actually. You might think I totally botched it or something, but no, I did this intentionally because it could seem like this mission is broken. But it's not, and we're going to show you how to fix it here in a minute. So essentially, you got to talk to a couple locals. They give you some tips that eventually lead you to the Happabore. Once you get to the Happabore, he drops a couple of portions, and Unkar Plutt says that's not all of them. So you got to follow this guy all the way around. Now, highly recommend talking to anybody that might offer you some rumors, whether you're in a mission or not. So if you see a rumor giver, speak to him. As you progress around, though, with this Happabore, he gets attacked by the birdies. Remember I mentioned there's another mission with birdies. Now, you could certainly use Django and his blaster, as it is pretty overpowered for blasters in this game. But I found that the aim on that isn't as heat-seeking as a lightsaber toss. So definitely recommend using the saber on all of the birdie missions because it locks in and gets it done. Now, after a couple of removals of the birdies, you're going to find yourself in front of this giant building. Now, when you get in front of this building, the birdies attack, but also the meter behind us, there's sort of an alarm that gets triggered. And when that alarm gets triggered, it's actually for another quest, but it doesn't change the fact that it sends a bunch of baddies out continuously until you turn the alarm off. So that is a fun fact for you. So basically, the birds can be dealt with, and the Happabore should seemingly move on. But because he is scared of all the attacking going on, he doesn't move. And because you keep taking out these bad guys, there's attacks happening. It keeps scaring him. And because the alarm is continuously going, they keep coming. So switch to a protocol droid, run up to this bad boy here, turn off the alarm, take out any remaining bad guys, and the mission should progress. Right? That's pretty good. That's a fun fact for you. This could easily seem like your game is broken, right? And if you quit the game and restarted it, it would likely fix itself because you probably wouldn't do them in the same order. Maybe you would, I don't know. But in the end, we felt that this could be problematic for some of you, and we felt that it would be good to kind of show you how it all worked out. So eventually, we got them all done, and we can move on. And look at that, he pukes out a few more portions, and we're not quite there yet. We got 3 more potions. See what I did there? Once we get done with this, he actually goes off and hangs out at the Trough. It's a big water pit back behind us. And there's a really tricky Kyber brick there, too. Like, in fact, on my PS4 Go, I stood there for a while. And I was like, what the crap? How do we do this? And then all of a sudden, I got lucky with a movement, and it popped up a hidden target that isn't visible. And then I just used the Force to take out the target, and it was good to go. I've solved it. So it's really tricky. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be a really frustrating task. But we'll get to that once we get there. But look at that. We've got all 15 of the portions. Here's Unkar. We'll go ahead and have a quick conversation with him. And it turns out he's not pleased. He's still missing some portions. So this mission is not done yet. But luckily for us, this Happabore pukes out, I think, 1 more. And we go ahead, and I don't even think we have to collect it. I think it just automatically goes in our inventory. We go ahead and talk to Unkar 1 more time, and he is satisfied this time. So we'll go ahead and collect our Unkar Plutt, I guess. I'm probably saying that wrong. Tomato, y'all. But next up, we're going to want the Force and a protocol droid, or, well, I guess a split protocol droid, or a BB-8 or astromech droid. In this case, we're going to use BB-9. The dark side BB-8. Go ahead and use the Force to lift him inside this back window. And inside there's a Kyber brick that will swoop up. It's Plutt's hut. Kind of fun to say. Go ahead and flip the switch, and we are out of there. All right, next up, we've got let's see here. What are we doing next? We've got ourselves a long character quest. Now, this is one that was unlocked after completing a mission in a previous area. In fact, it was Mos Eisley that we had to do. It actually brought us out here. We chased Bossk all over the place. And it was really tempting to go ahead and jump right into this, because as soon as you finished the Bossk mission, it activated this one. So it's another one of those ones that you had to do the other area first before this mission became available, which is why we did that area before we did this one. Now, Bossk actually wants us to go ahead and find some trampolines. It's a really weird kind of quest, but ultimately, lots of flying, lots of planet hopping, lots of attacks. We got all these, short little spots that we got to take out a bunch of baddies. The first one happens to be 6, and they come pretty fast here. The next one is even faster, and then it slows down a little bit. I can't remember if I think there's 4 areas we got to go through. And the final one, listen, you guys, there is a moment, I guess we'll call it user error. There is a moment where I sort of get lost in space, right? I'm not making like a reference to a classic television series or whatever, but I really do. I sort of get lost in space, trying to figure out which way do I go? Which way do I go? But eventually I figure it out. We also get a stud comet too, so we get paid, which sort of makes up for my mistake, but maybe not. All right, this one has 8 bad guys here. We'll go ahead and remove all 8 of them, which, like I said, this one went pretty fast considering there was a couple of extras. Now, this next one, I do believe, takes me a little bit longer, and I don't know if it's, again, user error or not. And then after this, we get to get lost. All right, so here we go. We're stacking them up. We got 12 this time. Each one seemingly increases the difficulty. Really, it's not any more difficult, just a little bit more effort is required to get them done. And again, if you're finding that the ships are not lighting up, maybe you're not able to take them down, it's likely because you've got the same side of ship. So in this case, I just recommend using an X-Wing, or, the Falcon will do a good job too. But sometimes you find yourself in a ship that is from the same side of, good or bad, right? So sometimes you need a good ship to take out a bad ship, or a bad ship to take out a good ship. You know what I'm saying? Know what I mean? All right, zone cleared. No shaving a haircut this time. What am I doing, Brian? I must have been distracted. I know at one point our good buddy Megabeard had called. I don't think we've got to that point yet in the recording, but there was a point where, like, he's calling it, and I see it, and I'm like, I wanted to answer and be like, hey, I'll call you right back. But he wasn't supposed to call for another 20 minutes, so he was calling early, and I was almost done with my recording, but... All right, here we go. We're going to get lost in space. So once we get through the attacks, we find ourselves right by Mustafar, I guess it is. And we got to go ahead and find the icon with the blue character hovering in it. And for us, it takes us a second to get there. We finally get there, and Bossk says, finally, now I can get my hands on. And then he takes off, and it tells us, do not follow him to Mustafar, right? But we also have to defeat these enemies. But wait, are we in a space battle or not? And then I see a gold ship fly through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just getting so crazy. If you don't know, there is a challenge for taking out a series of gold ships scattered throughout the galaxy. Luckily for you guys, we will have a video for that soon where we take on all of the areas. And basically, it's just one single ship. You take them down, move on to the next. Pretty easy stuff. Now, as you can see here, I'm like right in the middle of this space battle, and I can't get out of it. I can't get it lopsided to win or lose it. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just literally trying to fly out, but I can't even get my boost to work. So I was really struggling here, but I finally get out of the space battle, and I finally get my mission. Don't follow Bossk onto Mustafar. So all I had to do was really just target Mustafar and go land there. But I saw this the stud comet. I almost called it a Kyber comet. And you know me, I got to get them all. So we go ahead and approach this bad boy. And if you look, we start with 7.6 billion. And we get pretty well paid for this, right? I mean, we're dealing with millions. And in this case, like hundreds of millions. We got over 100 million for that stud comet. So take that comet out and go ahead and land on Mustafar. Mining complex is where we're heading for. Ooh, shocky time. And look at this. I actually forgot to edit out a transition. Now, I would say I would edit it out real quick and fix this. However, I've already got all the quick links documented. So that means every quick link after this particular moment would be incorrect. Womp, 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 womp. Sorry about that. I mean, it was really only about an extra 12 to 15 seconds. But I tried to be efficient and nail all those somehow. We'll blame it on Megabeard. We'll say that's when Megabeard... No, Megabeard hadn't called yet. In fact, I think it was actually at the end of this mission when I was fighting Bossk. But... Regardless, it's my fault, not Mega. In fact, hey, give some love to Mega Beard. If you haven't already checked out Mega Beard's YouTube channel, he's got a couple of them. Some that are gaming related, some that are a little more family related. He's got some youngins that he documents pretty well. Good stuff. If you haven't already, check out my good friend Mega Beard. All right, now I almost jumped off the platform back there. I don't know if you caught that or not, but I know exactly where I'm going thanks to my scouting run. We're going to go all the way to this upper deck here, and we're going to get our bounce on. Remember we talked about finding some trampolines earlier. You probably thought, well, wait a minute. We haven't seen any trampolines. We've been in space the whole time, Brian. But we finally found some bounce pads, and we're up and out of there. And look at that. Bossk is up hiding in the back. Now, it threw me off a little bit because it's showing the same icon above his head that it shows to initiate and start a mission. So I was like, wait a minute. Did we finish the last one, or we're starting a new one? I almost went, well, in fact, on my PS4 Scout, I actually did check to see if it had added some tasks to Mustafar. However you want to say it. I know there's some of you cringing right now going, that's not how you say it, Brian. But, you know, it is what it is. All right, follow Bossk all the way back down to the bottom. It's sort of not the bottom. It's sort of the top of the bottom. Bottom of the top? I don't know. Anyways. What is this, baseball? We'll go ahead and really just target him. This is a long and ridiculous battle. On the PS4, it took me probably, I don't know, I want to say like 10 minutes. I did find that the blaster does pretty heavy damage if you get some headshots, especially with the bounty hunters, because they have the triple burst. So often you can get 2 or 3 shots in one go. And, you know, just like other battles, there's like these weird moments of vulnerability and you could do some damage. And then there's like this, like, I am invincible moment where you can hit them and it doesn't take any damage. So I wish they would be a little bit more clear about that. But look, I got so lucky right there. So you can see how the blaster is probably the way to go. Now, flying birds, probably saber toss. But the Bossk battle, probably the pew-pews, I would recommend. All right, so as we're ringing off the mission here, and it gives us not only the character token for Bossk, but we also get a Kyber brick. I'm going to go ahead and bounce around and collect a bunch of studs. There's a couple of blues on this side. I don't know if you noticed that up top. So a blue stud is 1,000 times 3,840. That goes up pretty fast. And knowing that we still need 10 billion studs for a trophy/achievement, we're going to need to go ahead and keep on collecting. All right, so we're officially out of here. The X-Wing has lifted off, and luckily for you, I didn't forget to edit out that moment, so we're officially landed back on Niima Outpost. Now, I don't think I've mentioned this in this particular video, and I know we're like 25, 30 videos into free roam, but just in case this is your first free roam video, yes, the travel periods, the light travel, all that's all been removed, edited out for a little bit faster viewing experience. All right, we're back on the sand of Jakku now, and you can see our little footsies are getting dirty. We're going to go ahead and take on another Kyber brick. In fact, we got 3 or 4 of them before we take on another character quest. Now, remember earlier when we set off that alarm? Yeah, well, it's not going off anymore. If you didn't do that earlier, you might need to set off that alarm to kind of prevent people from attacking you like crazy. Now, what is Django doing? What? Get your butt down here, broski. We'll go ahead and stack up a couple of boxes meanwhile so that we can get up top. Really, we just need one on another. And we can double jump up onto this roof. And I do recommend using a character with the Force. I'm not sure you can do it any other way, actually, because you need to flip this switch. And it's a little bit of a funny angle, so go ahead and jump around a little bit until you get the camera to pop up that icon. Hit it. It was circle for us, and it opens the door down below. And I do believe it triggers the alarm again. I'm going to run inside and smash and grab that brick, though. I'm not too worried about the alarmsies. All right, we'll go ahead and cha-cha-cha-cha. That's my brick, punk. All right, Unkar plugged. I love it, right? Like unplugged, Unkar plugged. I thought it was pretty cool. Wordplay in a lot of these is amazing. And as I've mentioned before, I'm sure I'm getting a lot of them, and I'm sure I'm missing some of them, too. Like, there's probably, every one is probably a reference to something somewhere. And I probably get about 50% of them. All right, so we did have to turn that alarm off again, so definitely might be worth your time. All right, remember that one I talked about earlier, the Trough luck? There's a trough over here. There is a brick inside that cage, but how do we get it? Well, it turns out in this corner here, there is a hidden target. I'm going to go ahead and use the Force, and you can see it actually hits the target and rewards us with studs, even though you can't ever physically see it. So my best advice is to stand on that corner looking at the cage and use the force. The push force, that is. Next up, we're going to jump up onto some of the rooftops here and find ourselves a grapple point. This one is called the highest post in the outpost, and it just requires a couple of grapples. Once you get all the way to the third or the tip, it gives you that brick. And look at that, it's a nice view up here, although I'm not a fan of heights, so woo to the who, we're out of here. Luckily for the jetpack, otherwise I probably would have that. All right, now there is a gold cage there, and in fact, we'll be back for that later, as it does have a porg inside. That's another one of the challenges. There's where is the Wookiees, where you got to find all of the scattered throughout, and then there's the porgs as well. So we'll knock those out in a future video. We're actually getting pretty close to those. You know, we've been saying that they'll be down the road, but I mean, we only got what 4 or 5 areas, like planet areas. We do have some space spots too, but tentative treasure, probably one of the easier bricks scattered throughout. Definitely available on your map. All you have to do is smash a couple boxes, grab it. Should be good to go. Next up, we've got Scurrier, Courier. Now, you might notice there's some super pluggables scattered throughout, too. We'll get to those in a hot second. But meanwhile, we're going to work on old Bobbajo. That's right. He's got a mission for us, though. We got to go find the Scurrier, Scurrian. Now, we do have to leave the planet to go round up this Scurrier. And I get really lucky on this one, too, as my PS4 Go took me forever to deplete this guy's meter. But once we get here, I get another one of those, like, lucky moments where they just sort of don't move, and I get the old cha-cha-cha-cha-cha out, and it works wonders. So hopefully you'll have some luck like me, but we've officially landed back on, well, you've been here before. Where is it? Where are we? This should look familiar to you anyways. We'll go ahead and make our way to the waypoint marker, which as soon as we get there, we should actually see I think it's a health meter that pops up. Yep, it pops up, and there he is. He's just a little guy. Now, I feel bad because he's just like a little miniature kangaroo, but look, he gets sort of stuck there for a second. I get to almost take out his whole first meter there. As you can see, we got a depleter 3 meters. But again, I find that the old saber is wonderful for this task, as it does sort of heat seek the baddie. So lock on, toss on, and depleted that meter. Does roughly 25-30 each time. I think eventually he gets stuck, and I give him the business with the sword swings. Pretty sure that's how this one ends. And I think it's coming up right about now. It's weird. Like, I swear he just gets stopped. Stuck on something. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. All right, this is the final go here. We're almost there. We're almost there, and it may be scripted too. It may want us to get all the way over to this point. I don't think it is, though. Look, he's running around. This is not scripted. So he gets all the way over there, saber toss, and so final. Okay, so we did have 4. Sometimes I feel like the number is inaccurate. Like, sometimes the 3 really means just 3 bars. Sometimes it ends up being 4 because it replenishes 3. Maybe that's just a me thing. All right, I eventually get him. We're going to go ahead and collect him. And back we go. It should ask us, would you like to return to Bobbajo? Why, yes, we would. And we'll go ahead and do just that. All right, all right, all right. We'll go ahead and collect our character token for old Bobbajo. Thank you very much. Scurrier, Courier, done did. All right, next up. Hey, remember those super pluggables on your map? The little targets or bullseyes that are scattered throughout? We're going to go ahead and knock them all out the park. Now, it is possible that you got 1 or more of these. And, you know, normally I would probably do like quick links to each one of these. That's not going to be the case. Because they're so close, because they're on the map, because there's only 10 of them, we're going to go ahead and just let it ride. Now, I saw R2 or an astromech. Looked like R2. I thought maybe I missed a quick rumor. So basically what we're looking for are these jugs that glow blue. They're pretty easy to find. And if you're having any troubles with them at all, I highly recommend upgrading your collectible detector all the way, all 3 tiers, because it will actually highlight each one of the jugs as a collectible. So as you run around, it should have a very dominant marker on it, where as we're not seeing a dominant marker, but we can see the glow, right? So it's pretty obvious already, but basically just make your way around the town and find all 10 of them, knocking them down, and eventually you're going to get that Jugs of the Junkyard Kyber brick. Now, I got to be honest, when I first read this, you know, I come from the Al Bundy era. Definitely different meanings. Definitely different meanings. So anyways, moving along. We got, okay, so we got 7. We got, let's see here. We'll go up on top here, get a better view. Again, you should be able to see them on your compass. Like you can see, I'm navigating over to the next one, hiding behind this giant tower using the compass. So if you don't have the collectible detector all the way up, then I recommend doing that. And if you are still having trouble, maybe you don't have the money, whatever the case may be, just look for them on your compass. All right, there's 9 of 10. Now, if you're wondering why I don't have the collectible detector powered all the way up, really it's because of how busy it gets on screen with all the blue flashing stuff. And I know, I can buy it. I can also turn it off, too. That's another fun fact that you might not know. Once you activate it, you can deactivate it. But I have just not wanted to mess with it. So we'll get it eventually. It'll probably be one of those things that I purchase in one of our final, if not our final video or stream that we usually do, where I purchase all the character tokens, ship tokens, any of the data card stuffs that are left or anything. And we usually do that in a live stream. And I feel like we'll do that with this game as well. All right, down an outpost. There is sort of an underground area that has been exposed off behind the town. And we're going to go ahead and use a series of these boxes that we can lift with the force and put them on switches. There are 4 of them total. Now, I struggled miserably with the aim of that and just the movement in general. And to be honest with you, I'm not the great... Like, I did this in a bad order. I did it perfect on my PS4 Go. And look at that toss. That was a good yeet. Basically, what I should have done right now is put this one down on the floor button. The reason for that is because you want to tap this button up here as your 4th button. You want all the other ones to be pressed in. And unfortunately, yeah, you have to stand on it the whole time. You can't just tap it. So I step on it, and for some reason, because I used the force, I guess it was, he steps forward. So I eventually get tired of all this shenanigans, if you will, and I try to move it. But even then, I run into more shenanigans. So eventually, you'll get all 4 of them just like me, and it should open up the cage and give us that Kyber brick, which is basically the last one we have to go find. The next one is rewarded to us for completing this next character quest. So pretty easy peasy. We're actually going to get this next mission done, and as soon as we get done, it rewards us with the brick at the end, and that's it. We're out of here. So pretty good stuff. It's been quite the audio session this morning. I had a couple blunders, had a couple go-backs. I'm sure you've probably heard a couple edits in my audio. Maybe not. Maybe I did a good job. All right, the Jakku job. It's going to be over in this back corner here. We remember this guy. Him and Han had some problems on, what was it, The Force Awakens? I believe they were transporting the, oh boy, I totally just pulled a Brian fart. I can't remember. It's also known as a brain fart more commonly, but gosh, what were they called? I can't think of it. I should go look it up. But I already had to edit out my audio a bunch of times. I'll leave it for now. All right, we basically need to go talk to some of the locals. We got to talk to the Kanjiklub, which is a fun word to say, if you can say it right. Kanjiklub. And basically, he gives us... there's 3 people I think we need to talk to. And the third one... Oh, this is a good rumor giver, too. I believe that gives us... Oh, maybe not. I thought that gave us a rumor for future endeavors, but guess not. Next rumor giver for this mission is going to be over by Unkar Plutt's area. And, of course, the final one is just across... Actually, I think there's one more after this. We have to go wrap around the backside of the town, too. So there's 4 of them. I was wrong. And once we talk to that 4th person, though, we have to go back and talk to Bala-Tik, who then takes us on a mission across the desert. And once we get out there, we eventually do some digging to find some treasure. But then the Kanjiklub shows up. And we have to, we have to defend our buddies here. And then once we defend and they dig up all the goods, that is the end of the mission. And they leave us with a silver box, which can be blown up into the final Kyber brick. So pretty cool stuff here. The Guavian security group is on their way. We are out of here, too. I wish they would have just, like, teleported us to the point out there, but I get it. We're going to hop on this sand speeder or whatever it is here. I don't find these to be that much faster, but I do find them to be faster. Like, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like my normal characters probably run at about a 6 or a 7. I feel like this is probably going at like a 8. It's faster, but I don't think it's that much faster. All right, we're right all the way out here. We hop off. That's right. Ghost ride the whip. We'll go ahead and talk. And watch this. They get crazy. Start digging, lads. And they pull out the shovels, and they go nuts. And as soon as that happens, the Kanjiklub shows up, and chaos ensues. You can see on your compass the red dots coming in from the northwest. And Booyaka Shao will go ahead and take these guys down. So again, focus on the red dots on your compass. If the mission isn't progressing, definitely look to make sure that you haven't lost one. Some of them actually like can be force pushed away from the battle, or some of them just run off and disappear and kind of hide behind an item or piece of debris. So definitely be looking for that if it doesn't advance. But round 2, ready, fight. Here comes another group, I believe. Or was that the only one? That might have been the only one. It was. All right, we'll go ahead and talk to old Bala. Get a load of that. Nice work, lads. All right, so you can see the silver box they're leaving behind, but let's pay attention to the old Bala-Tik character token first, which is going to be the 4th and final one. And look at that. That actually unlocks a quest on Takodana. So there was a couple of things that this area unlocked for us, and good stuff. Good news. All right, Bala-Tik is now ours. And last but not least, we're going to switch on over to our favorite villain character and yeet ourselves a thermal detonator to go ahead and reveal the Kanjiklub Cache Kyber brick, which was not available till you finish that last mission. So a lot of things sort of being unlocked there at the end. And look at that, 100% Niima Outpost done did. We'll go ahead and pull up the final stuff there. Look at that, just under 8 billion studs. So it looks like we might have to do a little farming as we only have a few levels left, and I don't see us getting that much. But you never know. You never know. Hey, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click that like button if we helped you. There's always other things like super thanks, super chats, and hanging out for our streams, too, which are live and available for you to hang out and enjoy some HTG love live, right? Like, a lot of people don't even know we stream. So anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. As always, until next time, see ya.